I'm gonna marry next week, and my fiance, she does makeup on people, and there was this person who came with his parents from Sweden because his girlfriend lives in the Netherlands and she's Pakistani and also Muslim. I met the son of these parents, and he was like, "My name is Alexander." I was like, "Okay, that sounds like a Christian like name, right?" But later, as I told that I make videos in Dutch about religion, I started to speak with his dad first of all, and he was like, "Well, my son, he took the religion Islam because his wife is Pakistani and Muslim, but it's just for love, you know." And then I was thinking about how I became Muslim when I was a teenage boy in my life. I had a Turkish girlfriend, so I told my friend from Montenegro, born Muslim also, like, maybe it's weak when men take a religion because of the wife. And the friend from Montenegro, he told me, no, maybe it's a strong choice you make, because some men do change for love. But putting that besides, I asked this young man named Alexander, very nice guy, 22 years old, getting married today, that and I was like, I'm also getting married next week, so there was like a good connection. And I asked him, like, why did you choose for Islam? And he told me that he read the Quran from back to forward, and he found a lot of things logical. So I asked him, do you have an example of what you think is logical? And he was like, yeah, just, it sounds like very clear to me. He didn't give an example, but what he did say was, I don't understand like the Trinity. Like, it's because of this concept, I just can't take Christianity seriously. And then I remembered that I also, and a lot of people that I've read reactions on TikTok in 2019-20, I started speaking about religion on TikTok in Dutch, and they were like, well, I became Muslim because the Trinity is a weird thing to me. Like, let me just say one thing about the Trinity. The word is not in the Bible. Just like as the oneness of Allah, the Tawheed, is not found in the Quran. So there we have common ground. And my goal with this video is to share about like the story that I had today, and also this part about not the Trinity, but about Jesus also being God. I showed him the verse, I think it was in Galatians, I don't know, chapter 1 verse 3, whatever, and not Hebrews, Galatians. It was like, Jesus is the visible image of the invisible God. I told him, like, if you look at Jesus also representing God and being the visible image of the invisible God, how do you look at that from a Muslim perspective? And Alexander told me, yeah, I think that sounds very logical. Like I think he's new to Islam, to the religion. And he told me, like, I also think all other prophets are like a visible image of the invisible God. That was his logic. I don't know if it's according to the scripture and with what he should believe, but that's what he told me. I was like, oh, interesting. So if you tell a person that Jesus is like not directly God, which he is for us Christians, right? But if you tell a person that things like the Trinity and Jesus also being God are weird, then don't use the sentence Jesus is God, I would say, because we need to stand at their side and understand their perspective and speak from that point of view. And from a Christian point, speaking from a Christian point of view to a Muslim convert, revert, just doesn't work. And this does work. Jesus is the visible image of the invisible God. Say it in these words, and let people, for example, like this newly converted guy to Islam, think about, so Jesus represents God. And then if he starts researching other prophets, then he will find out that not all of them perfectly represent God, and that Jesus is a special case. And from that point on, like, you can research it further. I started speaking with the dad, Luis. He went from Venezuela to Sweden, was his story. He met someone, fell in love, lived few years in America, went back to Sweden, and he told me, I've lived so much life. Like, he was a very passionate Venezuelan man, and that had lots of life experience. And he was like, everything in life needs a sacrifice, because we were speaking about the sacrifice of Jesus, right? And he was like, oh, I needed to work hard for my sons so they could do this with the money and that, so they have a good life. He was like, but I needed to sacrifice and work a lot for it. So I told him, yeah, also in life, which is why I found Jesus' sacrifice logical. I think like for me, in order to eat, whether I'm vegan or carnivore, if I'm vegan, like in the end a plant will die while I consume it, and it goes into my stomach, right? So life needed to be sacrificed in order for me to live. If you're a carnivore, like then like you kill chicken, or someone kills chicken for you, you buy the chicken and you eat it, and it's energy, and you continue living, because without any sacrificial foods and the human eating it, the human will die. So for everything in life, this, that, and when it comes to his sons, giving them a better future and working so hard at construction for a lot of years in Sweden, now doing a different job, he needed to sacrifice literally time, years of his life, in order for their sons to live. And also with the example of food. So when you go to the example of Jesus, like if he is also God, I told the recently converted Muslim guy, I told him, how could God defeat the devil when the devil is death and God is life? And I told him that through the person Jesus Christ, God could go into death. There's also this verse, I think it's in Hebrews. He could go into death and there defeat the devil and later come back to life. Because as Jesus died on the cross, rose again after 3 days, it shows that within the context of that story, he went into death, and because he came back to life, he defeated the devil. But as a God spirit, he could not go into death, because God is all life. So Jesus was needed as a sacrifice. We were speaking about that, and I forgot which point I wanted to make, but I hope this video gives you insights about why there's always in life a sacrifice needed. And if Jesus is also God, like in John 10:30, the Father and I are one, like Jesus says, and Father is God, which also explains like Trinity more, but whatever, then it needs to be an eternal sacrifice. You know, like you cannot give a temporary sacrifice for an eternal problem of sin. So when God gave his life through the person Jesus Christ for our lives, in order to continue living even after that, which is why I also really choose Christianity, Jesus needed to be God, because if he was just a prophet, the sacrifice would be temporarily, and God is eternal. So the offer on the cross, and I learned this from God Logic, a different YouTuber, because Jesus also God, the sacrifice is eternal, so you're eternally saved. So it needed also to be God. I don't know if this makes sense, but I'm really practicing my English with this channel also. And I hope this story inspired you about these topics. Let me know what you think about concepts as Trinity. Do you have any Muslim friends? Are you a Christian, or the other way around? How do you find speaking about these topics? Let me know in the comments, and let's just have a chat and have fun.